for another quick update. Been really struggling to get the bits that I need to continue on with these builds. I've had to order some stuff in. We have come out of lockdown, but we've just moved to a lesser level, so we're not sort of back into full-blown commerce just yet. And a lot of the plumbing equipment stores and hardware stores, they've gone to click and collect or delivery only, or some places are doing pre-existing trade customers only. So yeah, I've been having real trouble getting all the bits I need. So I've managed to get together enough components to finish the guns for the people who have already paid. So I'm just going to test them, and then they'll go out in the next couple of days. I managed to finish this one for another customer as well. They'd started their build, but they didn't have the tools to finish it, so I just did the last step there for that one. Also, I'm running out of the brass for these inlets, so a couple of people have actually requested that I just do aluminium instead, and the aluminium seems to work just fine. So that's where I'm at with those. Probably be next week for the next lot. I may be able to get some knockout Friday, but I won't be able to send them until Monday. So if you have asked for a nozzle, put your name down, but haven't paid yet, I am still working on them. I'm trying to get them done as quickly as possible, hoping to have them done by Friday evening, but I probably won't get them in the post until Monday. The other thing is not all our post offices are open. Our couriers aren't sort of open for walk-in business anymore, and because I hadn't got accounts set up with any of them, it's a little more difficult to get things sent out than usually. So I am still working on it. Quite happy with the result of what I've been able to knock out just with the bits that I've had around. I did have quite a lot of new stuff. It wasn't exactly what I wanted, but I've been able to make it all work. So I'm just going to run them through for a test now, make sure they're working properly before I send them out. And then later in the week, when I can get some more components to finish these ones, I'll knock some more out. Here we go. This is the first one. Seems to be flowing pretty well, despite the fact that the water's pretty dirty in this one. I'm going to have to give it another service. Let's see how we go. One. Doing bad. Let's try it on something a little different. Excuse the dirty water. This has been sitting for over a month. It hasn't had any work to do, and I think I cleaned it out not too long ago before we went into lockdown, but obviously it's the work that I did with it then was enough to start scoating the water up, and then sitting it's just gotten even worse. So next couple of days I'm going to have to give that another change, but let's give this gun a go and see how well it works. I probably should have given a bit of an indication of what it was like before. Yeah, can't really see, but you can kind of see some of the dirt there. I'll show something else as well. They got replaced, so I might drop all the media out tomorrow and put some fresh stuff in. Yeah, definitely hard to see with the dirty water, but I'll give that a rinse and we'll have a look. So the beads aren't in great condition, but it still brought it up quite well. So I'm happy with that. Tomorrow I'll clean the cabinet out, put some fresh beads in, and if I haven't sent them by the time that's all done, then I may give it another test. But it was kind of like that before. So I was a little bit short on a couple of spots, but overall came out quite well. This is the second one to test. A nice decent flow coming out of there despite again the ugly crappy water, and that's what we're blasting. So it's not in horrible condition, but you can see it's very, very patchy and there's a little bit of corrosion on there, so let's see how it takes it off. Seems to be working the way I want it to, so I'll just pull it out and give it a rinse and have a quick look, but I'm happy with the way that one's working. So you can see very clearly the difference there. I'm so happy with that one, and a couple more to test. And test number 3, so good flow out of this one again. I'm going to go over this part again, let's do the other side. See how it goes. I haven't turned my compressor on. The pressure's a bit low. Hopefully, someone kept that on. Thank you. Even these small nozzles, if you don't have a big enough compressor, they will still lag a bit. It's alright. Let's rinse it and have a look. There we go. It's come up quite nicely. You can see on the inside there what it was like. Yeah, come up nice. Right, and this one is the one that was half built by a customer here in New Zealand, and I'm just going to go through and test it. This has got a small nozzle. This is one that was supplied, so if it's not up to the task I might test it with something a bit bigger. So let's see how it goes. Not bad, but I want to see if I can open it up a little bit. So I'm just going to make some adjustments on the inside and then maybe try with a bigger nozzle, but we'll see how it goes. Right, so I've just made some adjustments to the tolerance on the inside there, and I'm going to give it another go. It's still got these small nozzle on it. I think it's a 6 or a 7 mil. So let's have a look. So it's a bit better, but I want to try it with the 8mm nozzle just to see how that works. Right, so I got the 8mm on there. Let's see how we go. Yeah, I think it's slightly quicker and seems to be slightly more even. So that bit there, I think, that one there versus that. So both does a decent job, but personally I think the 8mm is just a little bit quicker and a little bit more even. So I might just finish the top of that off. Go back to the 6mm and I'll do a little bit maybe on this. Just again for a quick comparison. Yeah, it's a little bit slower, but it's alright. You see it's a lot more directed, so kind of have to go over every little spot, whereas the 8mm is just a little bit more forgiving. And let's try it on this. Let's do the underside. It works alright. It's just a little bit slower and a lot more directed. So I suppose if you're doing it, say for example a small engine cylinder head with all the cooling fins on it, it'll be probably quite good to get right down into it. But if you're doing larger, more open parts, I'd probably suggest going to the 8mm. But yeah, I'm happy with the way that's working. So I just want to fire in one of the guns I imported, just make sure all the tolerances are right. Now these ones quite often coming in from overseas, the quality control isn't the greatest, so I like to test them before I send them out to anyone. So I'll just do that changeover now. So it pains me to be running this crappy water through a new gun, but it's alright, it'll get a nice good clean out before it gets sent. Now the reason I'm doing it is, as I mentioned before, when you import guns, quite often they're not set up right, tolerances aren't right, and the last thing I want to do is send a gun off and then have to go through the rigmarole of getting it sorted out when it doesn't work. So every one that I send out I test first, just to make sure that it's going to be up to the standard and the specification they need. So chuck them in a machine, give them a clean. It's just unfortunate at the moment I don't have the cleanest water running through it, but it'll be okay. It'll get a nice clean out, solvent and air dried before it gets sent. So let's just make sure it works. Probably notice a lot more energy from this. Now that's because the nozzles in these, the air jets in these, I believe are about 3.5 mil. So they flow a hang of a lot, and you probably also notice the compressor came on relatively quickly. So that's the difference between them. If you've got decent air, these work really well. But the reason I made the smaller nozzles was that most people don't have the access to large air supplies, so I needed to make something a little bit more user-friendly for the home shop, or someone who's just running a small compressor and maybe not quite enough to feed these guns. So as we wait for the air compressor to fill up a bit more, and I'll do a little bit more on it, you'll hear again how quickly it goes through. So here we go. Much more energy, and if you do have the air supply, these things just absolutely hum if you've got them set up properly. This is running the 10mm nozzle. And as you can see, it's misting up my cabinet pretty quickly just because the fan is too small to keep up. And that'll get upgraded very shortly. So it's chewing through the space I got left on my phone, so I'll just shut it off and finish blasting it, and then I'll come back. So there we go. Obviously I didn't do the whole thing. Being a brand new nozzle to go out, I don't want to sit there and spend the first sort of 10 minutes of its life just for the sake of getting this clean. But I did go through and do enough just so that I can be sure that it's functioning correctly. So even with the horrible media that's in there and the dirty water, it still came out really nice. So I'm happy with that. Try and get the focus a bit better. So I'm happy with that. That can get packaged up and go out as soon as possible. As soon as I can get into a post shop that's willing to let me in and send some stuff. So hopefully tomorrow, if not by Friday. I know there's a bit of a delay. Sometimes they make you pay for all the stuff. They give you a form, you pay for all the stuff, and then come pick it up and send stuff the next day. So a bit of a pain, but in the new world, under the current threats, I guess that's how we have to operate. But yeah, it's working fine. Happy with the way those other nozzles work. I might make another couple of tweaks just to make them a little more user friendly, but get them sent out as soon as possible, and hopefully I have the rest of my parts to finish the rest of the guns, so as they can go out on probably Monday now. I'd hope to get them out on Friday, but might be getting a little bit too close to that deadline, so hopefully Monday, and we'll see.